Now before I start the next one, I'm going to put a cup of water and where'd my sugar go? And 2 cups of sugar in this pan back here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start that. I have 2 long-handled teaspoons. Those are used in the frosting. I don't know of anything else that works as well. These happen to be silver, so they're helpful for telling when the stuff is ready, and we'll get a close-up of that. All I've done is get the sugar to more or less dissolve. The heat is under it full, and it has started. Old cookie sheet. Next section. This sometimes gets a little gummy sitting in there. Now, I've got 1/2 of 1 batch in the oven, going to 15 minutes. So each of these batches is a 1/4, and each one divides into a 1/4, and you roll them down. If you do not start the sugar water now, you're going to be in trouble, because these things have to be frosted hot, well, or at least warm. That is part of the secret that I was never passed on by Grandma Pekin, was that you had to put this on them hot, and we'll show how that's done later. Notice I'm making these a little bit bigger than the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm only doing 6 per quarter rather than 9 as I started out. Makes them a little bigger. The size is adjusted by how thick you make the rope, not by how long you cut. One thing of glaze, we'll do a 1/2 a batch as we're doing this. So you need to end up making 2 things of glaze as we work along. And okay, that's boiling, and I'm going to turn that down a little. It reached boiling, I turned it down to low, and I'm going to keep it at low until we have about 5 minutes left on the batch. Now, I'm going to initially glaze a 1/2 a batch rather than a full batch, a quarter batch rather than what would be a 1/2 a batch. You can do the glaze on a 1/2 batch, but you have to be faster. And so I'm going to glaze what comes out of the oven. The second time I'll glaze 2 quarter batches. You can roll these theoretically without cutting them. Notice what I'm doing with my thumb there. I don't know how close to just push with the thumb and it rolls up. In theory, you can like roll it up and pinch it off. roll it up and pinch it off. Doesn't take that long to cut them. Set this aside. You got a couple people working at this. It can go a little faster, but it's mostly sequential time, things that have to get done. If you're watching this, you could fast forward this if you want to, and you can see me really flying through making some of these. But might as well keep it in real time. Normally when I do this, I make 3 or 4 batches at a time. The mixing of the dough being a batch, and so that ends up with quite a few cookies. And after the board gets to the right consistency, it rolls a lot better. Just varying technique to keep the audience interested. I think I'm going to use something different here. I'm going to fit what I have left onto the 2 trays I have here, I think. It'll fit. Because you may have noticed I was leaving these trays kind of empty. Also notice I didn't cut this section of the batch into neat little quarters. I just started rolling it out, and when it got too big I tore it in half. When it got too big again I tore it in half again. And you end up with quarters. Okay, we got 5 minutes left. Put the sugar back to full bore. The sugar glaze is always a real risk. I lose maybe 1 out of 6 batches. When I say lose, they don't work right. Cookbooks will tell you that you got to stand back there and stir that sugar all the time. But you need to watch it. But as you're watching it, listen to it also, because as the sugar gets a little thicker, it changes in tone. The bubbling changes to a crisper sound, and it is pretty obvious that it's starting to thicken and get to the string stage. So if I lose this batch, well, we'll just make some others. And there's always somebody willing to eat them, even if the glaze didn't come out exactly right. Cameraman Steve, we're going to need you up here being able to look down into this stove in a little bit. Don't need to see it exactly yet, but